stack.
Division 2 late night live with Tux. It's Saturday night. What's up, Bandidos? Welcome to another live stream. Got a good one for you. Gonna put on a good show for you tonight. So settle in, get your feet up. Let us know what city you're watching from. What city are you representing? What's up to my boys, Brandon, Lookadoo? Welcome back to another stream. Stephen Johnson, glad you caught another one, buddy. Latina, that's our community manager. Be sure to holler at her. Carlton Jones, Fox with the Tux, I love it. And Sirius Black, welcome, brother. Michael Myers asked, what's up, everyone? What's the topic for tonight? Well, it's Halloween. It's the eve of Halloween, right? So, since it's Halloween, I want to go creepy. And there's nothing creepier in this game than the Hunters. So in the first part of this video, I'm going to take you on a hunter hunt. And I want to hear what you guys got to say about these super creepy, dark, and mysterious killers that hit hard as hell and are hard to kill. But before we go there, give me a mic check if you can hear me nice and loud. Give me a hashtag Tux Live in the comments so I know that I'm coming in clear. Hashtag Tux Live. So, you know, in the first part of this video, I'm running the most recent build, which we call the Perfect Blend. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to F with that a little bit. But that build is coming in hot, super hot. And I could see by the amount of views, and we're at about 500 likes on that video, that you guys are loving it. And it's the only thing I've been running for like a week right now. Having a hard time working on my other builds because I love this build so much. It just freaking shreds. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's the latest video I dropped. Latina, if you could put a link in the feed, that'd be cool. But we're calling the build the Perfect Blend because it's a hybrid build and strong enough to solo legendary, heroic of course. But with these builds, they're really difficult to balance the damage between your power and your skills. Your skills end up being stronger. With this build, we actually accomplish the balance between skills and primary weapon. In fact, the primary weapon might even be, well, in my opinion, is hitting harder than both the skills combined. It's amazing, you shred. So I'm having a lot of fun. It's a build that you wouldn't expect to be as amazing as it is, and people are trying it and commenting that they love it. So be sure to read the comments as well if you're looking for some feedback from the community on how this is performing. So anyways, you'll be seeing me use that build, but not in all of this video. So you're seeing it right now. This is the Perfect Blend build, but in a little bit I'll be running some different builds. As I encounter hunters, I'm using the Max Blind build a lot against them. And then we'll be flip-flopping back to gameplay where I'll be using more of the Perfect Blend build. So I'm here at Overgrowth, and the reason why I'm showing you this particular gameplay footage is because it's going to kick off our topic, which is the Hunters. So, how many of you have captured either on, just during gameplay or in video footage, the Stalkers? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? The Stalkers? Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. But I happened to catch in this Overgrowth right here. This was just the other day. So I'm fighting Overgrowth. This is on heroic, and I get 2 Stalkers Hunters on me at the same time. Pretty amazing. So you're gonna see here in just a minute where I grab one of them and get him on camera. And I never get these guys on camera, just so you know, the Stalkers. Like, I'm like, oh, switching the camera mode, hit record, and then they're gone. So it always happens. It's like trying to capture Bigfoot or like a UFO, you know what I mean? On camera. It just like never happens. And I happen to finally get some stalkers on video game footage, so we're about to see that, which is pretty cool. Death Destroyer Words asks, hey Tux, the striker build supposed to have 35% crit chance? No, your crit chance should be at least 50%. Should be at least 50%. Do you see that? Do you see that stalker right there disappear? That Stalker Hunter? So I only got a glimpse of him, but let me see if I can rewind that a little bit in case you guys missed it. Okay. Let's see. So I'm starting to catch a little bit of feedback on my screen, so that's kind of where I'm looking around. I could tell there's a stalker. That's how you know you kind of get like this glitchy screen. And then I look up there and I can see his little head, and then he vanished as soon as I spotted him. So, and they vanished kind of with this puff of smoke. I'll start taking your questions here in just a second, but I want to make sure you guys catch these hunters. So this is the same control point, just the other side of the control point. So I'm about to leave and head towards New Venice, and my screen starts glitching again. So this is the same gameplay footage here, and I find another Stalker Hunter, and I get really good footage of him. So that's him right there. They're always on a roof, usually. They're always on a roof, or they're at a high vantage point, and that looks like it's Midas. So Midas is one of the hunters that killed. I get him at the West Comic Park area, or the Comic Event Center, taking on, what do you call them, bounties? So anyways, and then here we are fighting ghosts, and where you're going to see some gameplay footage of us taking out some hunters. And again, in a lot of these builds, I am using the max blind build. Not in every single one, but in a lot of them. So alright, so let's take a few of you guys' questions. I know you guys have some, especially about this new build. So yeah, going back to Death Destroyer where we left off. No, you need to have 50%, at least 50% crit chance. I was able to get my crit chance all the way up to 58% when I put on the Cheska chest piece. But even with the Wyvern chest piece on that build, I had 50% crit hit chance and somewhere between 80 and 90% crit hit damage. It was somewhere in that above 80 but less than 90% crit hit damage. So yeah, you don't need a lot of crit hit damage. That's enough, you know, in the 80s is plenty, because again, you have all of that amplified damage that's working in your favor, as well as the multiplicative damage attributes like damage to armor and damage to health that are coming off of the capacitor itself. And remember, the capacitor, I believe, is giving you, what is it, 10% crit hit chance, 30% crit hit damage off the mods of the capacitor, so that should be working towards your favor. But yeah, take a look at my build, take a look at your stats. You're probably missing some crit hit chance on one of your pieces, possibly the I have crit hit chance on all my mods. That's one thing to look out for, as well as the, if I recall, it's the knee pads also has crit hit chance as the secondary attribute. So and then the rest was going off of the chest piece, secondary attributes. So I hope that helps, brother.
Okay, what is that?
Dutchy RL asks me, Tux, of all the hybrid builds, which one do you like the most to play with? Good question. Because the funny thing, it sounds like Dutchy that it's that I'm throwing hype at you guys, you know, because I keep coming up with these hybrid builds and I keep saying, man, this one's OP, I love it. And I don't throw away on the word meta or OP a lot, you know, but I do say, you know, it's hard, it's fun, it shreds, and those kind of things. And the reason why I don't use the word meta and OP a lot is because I keep bettering myself with one build to the next, and that's sort of my objective, right? When I create a build, I want it to be better than the last hybrid build, or if I'm creating a DPS build or running gun build, I want it to be better than the last one. So that being said, I would say that when it comes to playing out of cover with a solo hybrid type build, or it doesn't have to be solo, but you know, just as a hybrid build, when it comes to playing out of cover, I would say that my favorite of all the builds would be the Slaughter build. Now Foundry, one might argue that the Foundry build, the balls out game over build, could be stronger when it comes to defense, because it runs the Foundry healing talent, which is like armor regen, but it's based off of the how much damage you take and not how much armor you have. So you could argue that one's a little bit stronger, but Slaughter is more in balance. So because it's running glass cannon, but all the armor regen you're getting, which I think that one has 6% armor regen and 20% armor on kill, because you have all of that on top of your glass cannon, it sort of neutralizes the glassy part of glass cannon. So Slaughter, I feel like, is a really good and balanced build. You're getting both the power and the regen to get out of cover. So I really like that one. And then that's for playing out of cover. For playing in cover, I would like to say that this perfect blend is the build. I'm actually having a hard time putting it down, and that's because it hits so hard. The time to kill is really fast, that amplified damage, I'm just amazed that we all don't use 4 pieces of striker as much as I think we should. And I suspect the community doesn't like 4 pieces of striker because I think they just compare it to the Division 1 striker gear set, and they're just disappointed by its differences. But it's actually really amazing. And I think the meter, the amplified damage meter the striker gives you doesn't keep up with the amplified damage that you're actually getting on the lesser tanky enemies. But on the big tanky enemies, it's pretty obvious. Or when you jump in a group, you'll get those stacks of amplified damage, and then they stick around for a while. But that build really shreds. I'm really loving it. Having a hard time putting it down. I would say it's my favorite of all the builds, just because I really like. You guys know I love my run and gun builds, and although this isn't exactly a run and gun build, it clears content really fast, and that's sort of why I love run and gun builds, because you chase down the enemies, you tackle them at their spawn points, you clear the content really fast, and with this build, I'm able to do that. So yeah, so I'm really loving it. Really loving it. Hope that helps. So what are the stalkers? Death Destroyer of Words asks. So stalkers are the hunters, like we kind of saw. They don't engage you, but they kind of they're stalking you or hunting you or watching you from afar. And if you've ever seen your screen glitching in the open world, when you're going between control points or you're in particular zones or whatever. And I'm not sure if this actually happens in New York. I don't play in New York enough to see screen glitches. I'm not sure if it actually happens in New York, to be honest with you. Can somebody clear that up for me? I'd appreciate that. But in DC, it definitely happens. And you'll see your screen kind of get kind of fuzzy, kind of glitchy. It's like, it's sort of subtle. It's kind of like a light static on your screen. But that's how you know that there's a stalker around you. He's watching you. And so when you get that static, what you're trying to do is look up in the buildings, any structure that's around. Maybe he's usually on the second story of that structure, and try to engage him. And sometimes they'll just stand there for a while and let you kind of watch them back, but as soon as they catch that you see them, and if you shoot at them, they usually run away and they vanish. So anyways, so even if you kill all the hunters, they still show up around the map. So I've cleared all my hunters. I'm sure most of you guys have, but and I still get the ghosts of these hunters stalking me across the map. What you're seeing here, the footage right here, is we're taking on the food truck hunters. This was actually really fun. I saved this one definitely for last because there were a lot of steps to activate it. You have to shoot all these targets and all these buildings, and you have to do it in the right order, and you have to go over here and hit this switch and go over there and hit that switch. So there were a lot of steps, and you really want to do this one in a group, I would suggest, because if you don't kill all the hunters fast enough, they despawn. So if that happens, you have to repeat all of the steps, and sometimes on some hunters you can't do it on the same day. You have to wait for the next day or for the clock to reset it on the map. So that's really annoying because there's a lot of steps. So for this one, I suggest you run a full squad so that you can kill them as fast as possible and move on to the next and move on to the next, because there's 4 of them. So we successfully did it on our first run and got all 4 masks. Thank Jesus. Thank Jesus. So yeah, right here, I'm actually using the max blind build. So you'll see, like, we're coming up against this hunter here in a second, and you'll see that I'll keep him blind and on fire basically the whole time. So I'm using the sticky bomb and the blinder firefly. The max blind build, if you guys haven't used it, it's basically a no cooldown status effect build, and it works amazing with the hunters because they disable your skills for the first few seconds, but once you're back up, you disable them for the entire rest of the gameplay encounter, because when they're under status effect, they can't disable your skills. So that's what's going on here, is I'm keeping him basically disrupted with a status effect the whole time. So he can't shoot back, he can't hit us with his hatchet. It's pretty fun. Sirius Black says, I love the Division 2, but I'm late to the party. My watch is only at 198. That's really cool, man. I kind of envy that because, man, the world is your oyster. You have so much to do. Do your hunters, man. That's one of the first things I did. I was really excited about to kill all the hunters, and there's puzzles around the game that you can decipher, and there's a secret language written on walls that tell you where the hunter spawn locations are at, which is pretty cool. Of course, you can just watch your tutorials on YouTube and skip all that and just go straight to the encounters. So, but anyways, yeah, I envy you, man. You got a lot ahead of you and a lot of fun, a lot of things to unlock, a lot of skills and missions and side missions and all that stuff that we've all been doing over and over again. But you get to experience it for the first time, so super jealous. Steven Johnson broke 500 SHD in 2 months. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. You're burning. Yeah, Campbell says that he sees the screen static quite a bit, and it's funny to him because he was just talking about it. You know there's certain spots where you'll catch the hunters more often than not. One is the Washington Monument. That's the ghost hunter right there. So the white mask hunter. So he's usually around that spot. And then Overgrowth. I catch them at Overgrowth a lot as well. So this time I was lucky enough to get them on camera. So if you guys are looking for them, head to those 2 spots, what I recommend. What's up, Richard? Girdlestone, good to see you back, brother. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Look at all those black icons from the members. You guys are maturing. Nice. Really appreciate you guys' support. Michael Myers feels like the hunters in Division 1 were stronger and more aggressive. You know what's funny is, like, I can't remember. Like I feel like my mind has been erased from Division 1. And I'm not one of those that have gone back. I know a lot of people have gone back to Division 1 recently because they have those updates, those updated events. Yeah, you know, once I left Division 1, I never went back. And now I feel like I can't remember anything. Is that crazy? I've erased my mind of Division 1. I guess I just love Division 2 too much. So, has anybody here completed all the hunters from Washington, D.C. and Warlords of New York? Let me know if you have. It's a journey. I did them all sort of in a pretty tight timeline. You know, when I started, that was sort of my thing. I was on a mission. So I knocked out all of my Washington, D.C. ones, and then I went to the Warlords of New York hunters to clear those next. But it's sort of spooky when you're playing by yourself. I don't know what you guys think. Make sure you have your lights turned on. Some of them are creepy, especially when they're playing that Christmas music in the background. La, 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 whatever it goes, it's creepy ass music. Four more in New York, Bill says. Yeah, yeah. Is it the Bill? Is it the food truck hunters you have left? Those four? I was pretty excited about that one because I wanted Lucky, the Lucky mask. He's the one that has the bullet dent right in the forehead. I was pretty excited to get that mask. I like that one. I'm into the hunters, man. I really like the lore of them. So, anybody got any theories on who they are, where they came from? Anybody got any ideas? I mean, we all suspect that they are ex-military because of their tattoos. They got this kind of military tattoo that that has insignia of rank. The same tattoos have also been seen on Black Tusk, which is interesting. So, you know, some wonder, okay, the Black Tusk, you know, because Black Tusk are paramilitary, right? So they're contractors, mercenaries. So, you know, ex-military, and then, you know, were the hunters ex-military too? You know, did they come from the same place? Were they rangers? But I think it is army, based on the symbols that you see. I'm not an expert in that stuff, but from what I understand. But so there's a theory that they're Russian, sent over to ensure the Division 2 agents don't reestablish government and to keep the United States in chaos. What do you guys think? Are these Russian agents? Or maybe the Terminators sent back through time to change the world. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe we'll never know. You know, once we know, does it take away from the game? Does it make them less interesting? I don't know. All I know is, and I hear this from a lot of you guys, that it'd be really cool to have them randomly spawn in missions and stuff like that, randomly attack us, instead of us having to summon them all the time. So, Death Destroyer of Words says, hunters are zombie soldiers controlled by Natalia Sokolova, which is really interesting. That's sort of what where my mind goes when I say that they're Russian, right? Because the Sokolova are the industrial family out of Russia, and so whose brother was killed by the Division, right? Brother was killed by the Division, if I remember right. I think it was that helicopter attack that he died in. Correct me if I'm wrong there. But, yeah, so, you know, there's some conspiracy apparently going on where she's may come into the story in future seasons. And so maybe, maybe she's the one that's behind the hunters. Maybe they are taking orders. Do you remember when Call of Duty came out with that zombie mode for the first time way back in the day? That was pretty cool. That sort of made me think of that when you said zombie soldiers. It was like survival mode against the zombies where you just had to tackle waves of these zombies. That was pretty fun. Oh yeah, it would be really cool, Michael, to have a hunter-based raid. Whew. They hit freaking hard though, don't they? Man, these guys, like in this build, I go down once or twice here, and one of them, I was watching the playback, and I was like, man, I'm on full armor, and he hit me once, and I went down with his weapon, you know, not with his hatchet. And I was like, wow, man, he hits hard. Because I'm not wearing glass cannon in this footage here. This is the carbon mask, if you guys don't know. There's a couple of steps you have to do to summon him. You have to go into the sewer system and take on, I think it's, that might be Yannick the beard, but it's another, some weird boss you have to spawn in the basement, in the sewer system, that is. And then you get a ticket, and then you come over here and you can unlock him. Yeah, that's the footage right there. So I was almost at full armor, and he just bing took me down. Bill says it took him 3 times to get this one. Yeah, Carbon. Yeah, it is. He's hard. He was hard. It was a long battle for us. Actually, we didn't end up getting him here in this footage. We lost him. And I think that's right here is where we lost him. So you can't hear it very well, but he despawned. You could hear him disappear in the background. And we ended up spending the next 10-15 minutes looking for him. And there was an engagement outside, so we thought, oh, maybe he went outside to fight the hyenas because they had come in a few times and surprised us. We were fighting the Carbon, and then comes a hyena with a hatchet, you know. Okay, so the gameplay footage is transitioning right now. So what you're seeing here is me using the perfect blend build. So I hope they, Brandon says, I hope they add more hunters with this content drop. Yeah, me too. You know, it's pretty interesting that they did that for that one season. Was it season 7 or season 8? I can't remember. But where Aaron Keener, or no, it was one of the sergeants who was working with the hunter, the deceit hunter, I believe. That was pretty interesting. I'd like to see more of that. Definitely get them into the story. Destroyer Worlds. I know. I wish I played on the PlayStation as well. Wish I had the time to play on all the platforms, to be honest with you. But it takes a lot of work to build your character up 3 times. You know, collecting gear and creating builds, creating special builds. You know, on 3 characters, 3 different platforms that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. Campbell says, yeah, he would like to see some more random things like hunters and missions as well. But, you know, kind of having them in a raid would be cool, right? Or even on the summit. That would have made the summit more interesting instead of just limiting them to the top floor. It would have been cool if they kind of like randomly spawn and you kind of like rogue agents do, you know, throughout the summit. That would have made the summit more interesting. What's up, Wick the Swede? Welcome to the stream, brother. Are you in Sweden? Carlton Jones says February 2022 is going to be awesome with the new content. Yeah, totally. If you guys aren't all up to speed. So we got a light announcement. They're going to be kind of keeping us up to date on some of the changes they're working on. But the next update to the game is going to be one of the most ambitious updates that they've made in a very long time. So the developers are projecting that February 2022 is going to be the release of that. And then they're going to give us the full reveal in January. So, but between now and then, on a monthly basis, they're going to kind of feed us little tidbits on what they're thinking. And we just got a couple. So one is they're going to revamp how specializations work. And I believe they're going to add new specializations, but they're definitely going to change the way they work. I don't know if you guys caught that article. It was a light read. But they're basically going to have it so that when you unlock a specialization, you're going to progress through it, and those progressions are just going to be activated as long as you have the specialization activated. It's not going to be a selection type skill tree. But then they're going to add that selection type skill tree in addition to that, and then you can sort of customize your character so that you have somewhat unique attributes, and it'll kind of open up build diversity because of that. So, for example, if you want instant armor kits, or if you want more powerful armor kits, will be a choice that you can make. And there'll be other choices like that throughout. But one of the other cool things is that you'll be able to use those specialty skills that come with specializations whether you have that specialization equipped or not. So for example, a technician has that specialty skill, which is the artificer hive, right? And you can only use it if you have technician equipped. But in the future, starting apparently in February, you can run something like gunner, but still use the artificer hive with your build. Now that just opens up a whole world of things. You'll be able to run technician and use the artillery turret. You'll be able to run gunner and use the mender seeker hive. So that's really amazing. So that's one of the things that they're changing. Really love that idea, actually. Especially the artificer hive. Oof, be able to buff everything. But I also think that means that means you'll also be able to get that that additional skill tier, right? And be able to add that to your artillery turret. Kind of look at it that way. So run the artillery turret with technician, get that extra skill tier, then you can perhaps run more armor or something like that, or more weapon damage or whatever. Overpower your build. So that's pretty cool. A lot of cool changes. Ray V asks, do I have a legendary build around the Seeker Mines? I don't actually. I sort of stopped playing with the Seeker Mines. I don't know, it's just kind of one of those skills that I stopped using. But I know, I see some, I see them all the time actually. In a little bit here, I'll have some legendary footage where I'm using this build, which is the perfect blend. And then some of my teammates who are randomly spawned with are using the Seeker Mine builds. What I see the Seeker Mines with most often is with Hardwired. That's where I think the most popular build is for the Seekers. And that's because they kind of have a long cooldown for what they are. And so Hardwired allows you to kind of reset your skills by dropping another one. So you can get your cooldown on those Seeker Mines, basically instant, but like around 4 seconds, which is pretty cool. So, I mean, I think that if I were to run the Seeker Mines, that would be how I run it. But I do have a different kind of Seeker Mine build than what I think you're talking about. And there's 2 builds. Okay, so Latina, if you happen to be able to drop these things, that'd be great for him. But one is called Hand Cannon and Holy Hand Grenades, or Holy Hand Grenades and Hand Cannon, something like that. But it's Hand Cannon and Holy Hand Grenades. That's a really cool build. So I'm using the Seeker with the Sticky Bomb. So Sticky Bomb being the Hand Cannon and the Seekers being the Holy Hand Grenades. So it's kind of a 1-2 punch. It is an explosive build, but I turned it into a run and gun skill build. You're like, what? What are you talking about? Run and gun skill build? Explosive skill build? Yeah, exactly. It's crazy, and that's why I chose those skills, those 2 consumable skills. So what I do is I basically toss out a Seeker, hit him with that, and then punch him with my other skill, which is the Sticky Bomb. And then by doing that, I think I might be using tag team, so it resets the skills by just putting a couple of bullets in the enemy. So check that out. I also have a build called Rocket Man, which is a similar concept. It's a variation of Hand Cannon and Holy Hand Grenades. They're kind of variations of each other, version 1, version 2. So definitely check both of those out. They use the Seeker Mines, but yeah. I move around a lot. I like to, with the skill builds that I've made to date, I use the Sticky Bomb a lot, the Blinder Firefly. You'll see that on the Max Blind build. And then lately I'm on this kind of double whammy skill damage hybrid builds. And for that, I use the turret and the drone. And then I have these explosive builds. And the reason why those explosive builds are the way they are is because I'm sort of a running gunner. So I like those SMG shotgun builds, and so I tried to basically create a skill build that mirrors that exhilaration that you get from the run and gun builds. So Campbell says the specialization changes sound like it would be awesome. I think so too. I like the changes that they make. I think they're pretty thoughtful. But I was mentioning in last night's stream to members that there's some things that I think somebody needs to get fired for. Like what were we talking about? It was the skill that you had to unlock, the healer traps. I mean, has anybody used those ever on anything? Those healer traps are so useless. I mean, and I've thought about it, and I'm just like, wow, there's just not a circumstance where I can find this helpful, or where the other skills that are available aren't stronger than this one. It's just those healer traps. What a waste. What a waste. And so with this next update, it'd be really cool if they gave us if they, take a look at some of these useless skills and fix them for us, I don't know, but if somebody out there has found a way to run those healer traps, you deserve an award. Let me know if that's you, and I will FedEx one your way. Destroy your words. Healer traps are amazing. What are you talking about? Yeah, maybe I'm the crazy one. Maybe I'm the crazy one. I don't doubt it. Shit. Maybe I'm nearsighted. I don't know. Yeah. Campbell, you're right. Also, once you unlock the sidearm, you could use them with any other specialization. So yeah, there's special sidearms, right, with every specialization is what he's talking about, and I can't remember what they're called and which one has which because I pretty much never use them. But you'll be able to equip them with others. There's one called the Fire Starter. Anybody know what I'm talking about? It's the little sawed-off shotgun sidearm. That one's pretty cool, actually. It's actually really powerful. If you look at it and see what it says, and I'm going off of memory here, but it basically takes off like 50% immunity to fire with whoever's tagged by it. So basically, you prime the enemy with that. You hit him with that, and then you throw out your chem or whatever fire skill that you have, and it'll help them burn that much faster. Now that's really helpful with Eclipse protocol because once you kill that first enemy, it starts that waterfall effect, right? It starts bleeding over to the next enemy. So that's a really useful sidearm. I actually used it for a little bit. I really had a good time with it. Fun, easy to use too, right? Because it's like bam, bam, a little sawed-off shotgun. Sawed-off shotguns. It's a little interesting tidbit here for you. Just a little nugget of information. So I was thinking, I had this epiphany, right, to put together this build. So the Dodge City Gunslinger holster. Anybody know what I'm talking about? That exotic holster. So there's a little mini quest you have to complete in order to get it. It's not that difficult. Go to this control point, pick up this part. There's 3 control points, I believe, you got to pick up parts from. Then you pick up a blueprint, and then you go over to this coffee shop near the White House and at high noon and take on some, I believe they're hyenas, I can't remember exactly, but kill them. And that completes the quest, and then you go to Anea, however you say her name, and craft it. But once you get the Dodge City holster, it basically builds up stacks on your sidearm, and then when you shoot the enemy with that sidearm and all those stacks, you can basically one-tap them. And I actually have a build called One Tap a Shakalaka that uses that to basically, I think it was 50% armor and kill. So it's a sort of a DPS build, and it just clips that, but it has a lot of armor on kill. And so with one bullet, you get all of this armor on kill. It's a pretty cool build. Anyways, I thought about, what if you paired up a double-barreled sawed-off shotgun and a Dodge City holster? Think about that, right? Because they have amazing damage. I think their base damage is something like 1.4, 1.5 million base damage. But it turns out, so here's the nugget of information, is that it turns out that you can't do that. So the Dodge City holster works with everything but the sawed-off shotgun. Can you believe that? So they obviously thought about that. The devs did. They were like, "Ooh, we better not let it work with the the sawed-off shotgun." But Yeah. So, and if you look closely, you know, they made a distinction between the sawed-off shotgun being a sidearm. So they made a distinction that you have sidearms, and the sawed-off shotgun is actually classified as a shotgun, even though it's a sidearm. So it's a sidearm shotgun, and then you have sidearm pistols. It sounds obvious, and it is obvious. It is obvious, and it's smart that they distinguish that, because that would be pretty OP. I was thinking about, you know, you'd be able to go to like District Union Arena and probably be able to one-tap aggro with the sawed-off shotgun and Dodge City holster, because its base damage is so high. Anyways, has anybody figured out a way around that? If you have, or if you do, let me know eventually, because I'm curious. I'm still thinking there's got to be a way to equip one of these little sawed-off variations with that Dodge City. I just haven't tried them all yet. But Campbell asks if we have a really good build for the Chameleon. That really seems like it's an overlooked weapon that should be used more often. Actually, it's up there. The Chameleon is, I do run polls from time to time, and one of them recently was what's your favorite exotic weapon? And the Chameleon's up there. I think it's definitely top 3. The Eagle Bear is up there, as well as the Scorpio. I think those make the top 3. And I think whichever is first sort of depends on the week. And I'm actually surprised the Eagle Bear is up there, to be honest with you. I don't think it's that good, Eagle Bear. I think the Chameleon's way better. The Campbell, all I can say is I have a lot of builds for the Chameleon. I invite you to go to my build playlist and kind of scroll through them, because there's more than one. I actually have a dedicated build video for the Chameleon where I give you 3 or 4 options to check out. So that one's, it's called, I think it's called like the Chameleon or something like that. There's something Chameleon in the title. It's pretty obvious. It kind of sticks out. It's a blue thumbnail, and it says something about the Chameleon. And the first question I asked is, which is a better SMG, the Chameleon or the Dark Winter? And that sort of takes everybody for a loop. It's kind of funny because, of course, the Chameleon's not an SMG, right? But that was the point of the video, was that why would the devs give us a Vector and call it an assault rifle, right? Why did they do that? Why? You know, and that's just, and that these are the questions. So people ask me, hey, Tux, how do you come up with your builds, right? I ask questions like that to myself, right? Why would the devs give us an assault rifle or give us an SMG but call it an assault rifle? Why would they do that? You know? And it's because, and I believe it's because they want, you know, they kind of guiding us, right? They kind of give us guides. Of course, we go outside the box all the time and don't listen to what the devs tell us. So I'm not saying, you know, that it's the only way to run the weapon, but I think that they do that because they're trying to guide us into using a weapon a certain particular way, or at least try it out that way. And they're saying, hey, you know, run the Chameleon like you would an SMG, right? So the Chameleon, what's unique about it, and probably why you love it, Campbell, is that it brings all the crit chance you could possibly need, right? It brings all the crit chance. So I think at the base, on the base weapon, it's something like 35%. Is that right? I can't remember top of my head. But then once you, it's 35%. And then once you proc the headshots, you know, once you get all your headshots, then it gives you another 20% or something like that, 25% crit hit chance. And then I believe 50% crit hit damage. But if you look at the stats, the Chameleon is actually way better than the Vector because one, it doesn't require a kill for you to get all of those stacks, and number two, they last longer. And one of the downsides of the Dark Winter, which Bill spinning webs, the Dark Winter is an amazing SMG, so I love it. It's really good, and I mostly love it because it's a Vector and it's got really high RPM, and the accuracy is pretty good too at close range. But it's got the Dark Winter's got a 10-second window where that talent expires, and the problem is when you're running control points or when you're in open field, you know, by the time you get to the next enemy and start shooting at them, it expires on you. And so that's sort of a pain. That's the downside of the Dark Winter, where the Chameleon, the stacks last a lot longer. And they also last between engagements, which is pretty cool. So if you clear a control point and you still have stacks, it saves them for you until your next engagement. So anyways, yeah, I invite you to check that out. I also, if you didn't know, classified builds are secret builds that are made just for Tux's Players Club, true and hardcore Bandido member levels. And so if you want, real quick, if you want to tap into these, you can get access today by making sure you're at least true Bandido member level. So click the join button below to upgrade if you need to. But one of the builds that I just released like a couple of weeks ago is a Chameleon build where I found a way to have 1 million armor with 6 skill tiers and max crit hit damage. I think, can't remember what the crit hit damage was, but it was, I believe it was over 200%. So that thing just shreds. It just shreds. So it's sort of like, you know, have your cake and eat it too. It's have your armor and your damage too. So six red weapon damage cores and 1 million armor. So if you can figure out how I did that, props. So I'd love to see you guys' guesses. How did I get 1 million armor with 6 red weapon damage cores? Let's see your guys' guesses. Hear your guesses in the comments. Anyways, that video is available to members as long as you're a true Bandido member level. So I invite you guys to join today. And that reminds me, members, for you guys that are out there, Michael, Brandon, Ricardo, welcome. Ricardo, I didn't see you in the stream, or did I? If I didn't say hello, welcome, Ricardo. Anyways, we will have another classified build launched next week, so look out for that. Most likely will be on Wednesday, but on Monday I will put out the week's schedule and what you guys can expect for builds and streams this coming week. So Ricardo, are you asking if you should try the Chameleon because you've never used it? So yeah, the Chameleon, okay, you did say that. Okay, the Chameleon. So the Chameleon, it used to be a shit weapon. So when they first launched it, nobody liked it because the handling was just horrible. It was just horrible. And then they, many months later, they improved the handling on it. And now I would say that, man, it competes for the best exotic weapon in the game. It's highly versatile. So like the main attribute or talent is, what is it, guys? 90% weapon damage when you get all your body stacks. Body shot stacks, I think it's like 100, right? Once you get 100 body stacks or something like that, you get 90% weapon damage. Think about that for a second. 90% weapon damage. What does that happen to be, right? Well, you have 6 gear pieces. Each gear piece has the possibility of 15% weapon damage. So 6 times 15 is 90% weapon damage. So with the Chameleon, you could double your weapon damage output. That's huge. Or you can run all armor cores and not lose any weapon damage output, if you want to look at it that way, right? You can run 6 armor cores and still have 90% weapon damage. That's what that weapon does. And so when I came up with this build where I got 6 weapon damage, or 6 armor cores, 6 weapon damage cores and 1 million armor, and then I'm running the Chameleon, so that's 180% weapon damage. That's insane. That's insane. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. I really like it. But in my opinion, guys, run it like an SMG. What I mean by that is make a build that plays up close and personal, you know, within that 15 meters. Because I don't think the handling is that great at range. You know, it really does play like an SMG, so it kind of wants you to play kind of close. It works really well with Intimidate and Adrenaline Rush as well. The Memento. So these are all really good builds for it. If you guys haven't seen one of my most popular videos on YouTube, it's got like over 100,000 views or really near there. It's called You're Wearing Too Much Armor. Okay, and it's how to build survivability into your build. It's that build. And I use the Chameleon throughout that build video. And I think I show you like 3 or 4 build templates. And starts out with a 6 blue armor core, max crit damage chameleon build. That just shreds. Does a really good job at cutting enemies down. So, anyways, really fun video. Teaches you a lot. I invite you guys to check that one out when you get a sec. Michael Myers says, I ran Iron Horse yesterday. They wanted to kick a guy for using that weapon, but in the end, he had higher kills than everybody. That's a shame. Yeah, that weapon shreds. I mean, you have to build up your stacks, and that's, so it does lack a little bit of burst damage because of that, but it sort of makes up for the burst damage with the high RPMs, right? But so in the raid, talents like Strained work really well, and Optimus or whatever, because you have short engagements, right? You're guarding a door, and only 3 enemies come out of that door every couple of minutes or whatever. It's just like, oh, I'm sitting here guarding a door. So yeah, I get it, but no, man, it works. Any build works, guys. Here's a secret: any build works in the raid. People just have these rules on these prescribed builds just because, there's 8 people in the raid, and they've never played with you before, and they don't know if you're any good or if you're a spaz or whatever. And so, to minimize the variables, they're saying that you got to have this raid and use these guns. But the reality is, any build works. I mean, once you get to know the mechanics, the raids are really easy. And I know that's not saying much from a guy that's been playing this game for a long time with 5,000 SHD, but it really is really easy. People make it more of a big deal than it is. And it'll be there like that for you guys once you do it many, many times. But once you get there, once you're comfortable with the mechanics, then you realize like, oh shit, I can use any build, right? But for example, one of my favorite builds that I used in the raids was this, max crit chance. Oh, if you guys haven't seen it, it's there's a build video that's called I Am Legend, and it's thumbnail's black and white. It says Legend across it. I have 3 builds there that are awesome for Legendary, and I also show them working in the raids as well. And one of them had, but what was really the thing about those builds, the common element was that they all had max explosive resistance, because when you're playing Legendary, what is their number one threat? Explosives, right? The drones, the dogs, the grenaders. So if you take away, or if you take away that explosive threat, then they just become, regular old NPCs, right? And so that's what those builds are about. But same thing, if you take those into the raid, on the boss 4 for each of the raids, what are the biggest threats is the explosions, right? So like in dark hours, you have those missile strikes, right? And so why not have explosive resistance for dark hours in that final boss? I didn't lose any crit chance or any crit damage. I was maxed out with that, running Strained, Glass Cannon, Police M4, 30x, 8x scope for 30% headshot damage. And I was just shredding, killing. Didn't go down once in the whole mission using that, in the whole raid using that build. And I had a max explosive resistance, right? Why not? So anyways, other builds work. But yeah, it's going to be difficult for you to bring in a random build to a raid because people are kind of stuck on that. And, I don't have any control over that, but I'm trying to influence it for you guys to help open minds. But we'll get there one day. Your clan tried an all-skill build raid run, and it was awesome, Michael Myers said. Wow, that's pretty cool, man. Props to you guys. Cheers. That's the kind of stuff that I like to hear, man. Because, I mean, I'm sure your clan has beat the raid before. Maybe a couple dozen, 100 times, right? Like, why do it the same way? Still, to this day. That's exhausting. That's tired, man. It's tired. Dutchy asks, what is the best talent for a DPS assault rifle like the Police M4? Optimus or Strained? I would say Strained. And a lot of it's going to be based on the RPMs of the weapon, whether you go Optimus or Strained. So in my opinion, if your weapon is on the faster side of things, you want to go Optimus. But with the Police M4, it's sitting at, 850 RPMs? And so it's just right there where Strained works out really, really well. And so I use the Police M4 Restrained to solo Legendary, and so do others. if you look at a lot of the solo legendary people and like YouTube or whatever, they use a really popular build as a 4-piece negotiator's dilemma with the sacrifice, right, which is glass cannon, and the police M4 running the 8x scope, like I just mentioned, and also which is gives you 30% headshot damage. That's amazing, and then running strain, and it does really well. It does really well. So a strain will give you 50% more crit hit chance, where Optimus gives you, what is it, guys? 30%, 40% weapon damage, more weapon damage. Can't remember. I think it's 30% because it's 3% for every 10% ammo you're missing. Is that not right? So crit hit chances means more than weapon damage, but crit hit chance is only 50-60% of the time, where weapon damage is 100% of the time. So, you know, do the math there, but crit hit damage usually wins. So, but yeah, so I recommend that. Strained is actually a really good weapon talent. It also works good with the M1928 SMG. If you haven't seen my build video on that, I think I get that thing to crit at 2.4 million, 2.8 million on an SMG. That's insane. It's insane. I'm running with Hunter's Fury, and I mean, I call that thing like a freight train of a gun. It doesn't have any mods, but you don't need them. It hits so hard. It's the hardest hitting SMG in the game. Its base weapon damage is the highest. It's got like 600 RPM, so it's on the slower side of things, but don't worry about it. Use it. Get it. If you haven't run this SMG, you're crazy. Get the M1928, and I was crazy too, because I avoided it for a long time. I used to get them and I used to just toss them, right? And then I saw this one guy using it to solo legendary as his secondary weapon, and I was like, oh, that's an interesting weapon choice. And so I tried it, and I was like, ooh, I see why now. I see why now. This gun is freaking amazing. Basically, if the gun has wood on it, it's OP. That's the rule of thumb. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Baker's dozen. It's got wood stock, right? The M1928, it's got wood. The the Mossberg, what is that one? The M780 or whatever? It's made out of wood. So if you come across a gun in this game that has wood on it, it's likely a beast. The White Death has wood, right? That's got, what, 130% headshot damage on it? It's a beast. So if it's got wood on it, you should try it. I'm telling you. That's how the devs developed it. Ricardo G74 says, I used the M1928 after your video on them. It slaps. Yeah, for sure. And then I think I think I have 2 build videos on it, but I use it a lot, so you guys know, as my secondary weapon. Which I don't often use my secondary weapon, so you guys know. I don't like switching weapons, mostly because there's usually a talent that you lose if you do switch weapons. So, but oh yeah, good call, Michael Myers. The Virginian and the boomstick, yes, both made out of wood, and they're OP. We got to make a build video on. We got to make a live stream on that. I'm gonna make a note of that. Okay. And I'm gonna title that stream like, if it's made out of wood, it's good. So, if it's made out of wood, it's good. That's gonna be a live stream, and then we're gonna go through why all of these things hit harder than hell. But yeah, that's what the devs decided. If it's old as shit, it's gonna hit hard as hell. But yeah. Yeah, Carlton says the M1928. Carlton Jones says the M1928 is unfair on all accounts. Yeah. You know what? The funny thing is, you've probably thrown away like 1,000 of them. Most of you have, right? And in the instant you start looking for them, you realize how rare they are. They don't drop very often. They're not that easy to get. And so I remember farming for several days, and I would get the M1928 from time to time, but it would just be like really shitty, right? So keep your eyes open. If you get that drop, do not trash the M1928. Once you use it, you realize that it might just be your next favorite SMG or gun in the game. But I use it as a secondary weapon a lot, just because it hits really hard. And I don't use my secondary weapons very often, but that's a good go-to secondary weapon. So, like right here in this gameplay footage you're seeing, this is District Union Arena. And, you know, using an assault rifle is pretty common here. But when those chungas get within close range, that would be the time that I would switch to the M1928, and you would just watch them melt really fast. That thing's just like a freight train. It's just like plowing a freight train through a chunga. Chunga, chunga, chunga. That's how it sounds, and that's how it feels. It's steady, it's accurate, and it hits really, really hard. So, anyways, that's my tangent on that. So now you got something to farm for. Put that on your list, and then go check out the video. The good wood concept. The good wood. Love it. Yes, making a note of that. Good wood concept. Sawed-off shotguns. Has anybody done it? Steven Johnson brings up sawed-off shotguns. Has anybody done a good build for that double-barreled shotgun, or any of the sawed-off versions? Let me know if you have. Let us know if you have, because I've been thinking about it, trying to get that that double-barreled shotgun to work. You know, I think its base damage is like 1.4 million. It's got, you know, not the slowest reload, but I think the perfect version has pumped up, right? Which is, I think for every reload you get 1% weapon damage or something like that. Stacks up to like 30 times or something like that, whatever it is. But I just haven't found a way to get that to work. I think it's mostly, those double-barreled shotguns mostly seem to be like a finisher. You know, like you know, you're mowing down an enemy, and you know your clip runs dry, and you just got a tick of health. You know, and that's when you switch to that double barrel and just go poof, poof, right? I think that's a good idea, but I think in that case you'd want to roll in some swap speed. Make sure you have that built in. Swap in and out really fast. The Tommy gun is wood built. So Bill Spinningweb asks, "Is a Tommy gun? Is that wood?" It is. It is. And a Tommy gun is sort of a variation of the M1928. The difference is sort of the handling. So the Tommy gun doesn't hit as hard as the 1928, but also the handling is a little out there compared to it. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I get some good versions of the Tommy gun. You do get a larger mag, of course. Michael Myers uses the boomstick with the Scorpio combo and opportunistic and protected reload. Protected reload is really good for shotguns. I actually created that build too a while back. It's called Wanted. If you haven't checked it out yet, that video is called Wanted. And I'm using protected reload with the Marine Super 90, and it's an amazing build. It's an amazing build. It's run and gun, no shield face tank build, and so that bonus armor on reload allows you to proc bonus armor on demand, right? Because you can reload just one shell at a time, right? And I think that thing's got 8 or 9. So, you know, you can shoot one, reload one, shoot one, reload one, shoot one, reload one. And so in between enemies, you know, when you're sprinting, you know, you hit your reload and you get that bonus armor in between sprints, in between enemy engagements, and that protects you, which is your most vulnerable point in any running gun build. So when you're running an SMG build or a shotgun build, if you've noticed, you might do really well up close and personal with the enemy, but you know, when the next set of enemies are, you know, 40, 50 meters away from you, you know, in order to get to them, you're gonna have to play a little bit out of cover. You're gonna have to be out of cover a little bit, and you'll end up taking a lot of damage. So protected reload actually works really well in that situation. So, and I like it with shotguns because the gun itself is really overpowered. So utilizing the talent for a little bit of defense isn't gonna hurt you that much. So something to think about. Good recommendation, Michael. Protected reload, yeah, not one that we talk about very often, but it actually works. I don't recommend it for any of the other ones. It might work for LMGs, but I'm not a big LMG guy, and I know you guys have been asking for some LMG build videos, and I do have them. I've mostly based them off of the Pestilence, which is the only LMG I actually run. But so sometime in the near future, I will try to dedicate a couple of build videos to some really cool LMGs, maybe like the Sleipner or whatnot. So if you guys have any ideas, you know, I'd love to hear them. Also, for anybody looking for like-minded peeps, check out the Tux clans. The clans are popping. Thanks to some great leaders and banditos. We're still looking to open the Xbox clan. I am meeting with some potential leaders, but if you think you're one of them, you think you can be a good leader on the Xbox, I invite you to connect with me on Discord, and let's play together and see if we're a match. If you want to get involved in any of the above, be sure to hit us up on the Discord. Latina can help you there. She's on the stream right now, and she also runs the community on Discord. And so, if you need need to be pointed in the right direction, she is the person to engage. Pumped up for shoddy. Bill Spinning Web says, pumped up for a shoddy. It's like obliterate for a gun. You know, I haven't given pumped up much attention. You know, I've gone through this progression with shotguns. You know, when I discovered the Marine Super 90, I didn't think I'd ever move away from that. And then, you know, the Scorpio is what it is. I like the Scorpio more for its status effects and its power, so I like to play into that when I use it. And then there was the Tsunami, right, which comes with perfect pummel. But then I realized that the Tsunami's got a fast reload. Well, I don't really need pummel, so I decided to run the Tsunami with Optimist, actually, and that became way more powerful than pummel. So I recommend that. It's only got like a 1.8 second reload, so you don't really need perfect pummel for the Tsunami. So think about that, guys, when you're running that shotgun. Be like, hell, you can get a lot more power out of Optimist. So it doesn't require a kill, where pummel does. And then, so once and then I discovered the M870, if I'm quoting that right, the Mossberg. And that's called Shotguns Akimbo, the double shotgun build using the rock and roll. Check out that video, a lot of fun. 1-2 tapping heroic elites and legendary elites. 1-2-3 tapping bosses as well. That shotgun, the Mossberg, hits really hard, and I run it with pummel. And so most people stray away from that shotgun because the reload is horrendous on that thing, right? It's like a 5-second reload, maybe even more. But with pummel, it doesn't matter, and it hits so hard you can actually activate pummel. So yeah, I recommend that. And then Anthony just mentioned this. Anthony DeMar mentions KSG shotgun with pummel, and then I learned I got this perfectly goggled KSG shotgun with damage to targets out of cover, and then I put pummel on it, and I realized that the KSG shotgun is the better shotgun compared to the Mossberg. Now, the Mossberg has what, guys? Isn't it like 7 rounds in it? And it hits a little bit harder. I think it's like at 1.4 million, and the KSG's at like 1.2 million. So they're pretty close. The difference is the KSG shotgun has 12 rounds. Comes with 12 rounds. So there are times when you're taking on groups of enemies with these shotguns at close range, where you don't get the enemy, you know, directly head on. So you might waste a couple of rounds, right? And then you find yourself in a reload situation because you didn't proc pummel. Well, with the KSG shotgun, you have those extra rounds. So when you look at total damage or DPS as it pertains to potential, as it pertains to the number of rounds in your mag, right? Then the KSG shotgun is stronger because it has 12 rounds at 1.2 million, where the Mossberg has 7 rounds at 1.4 million. So it's got more damage potential because of that. But anyways, those extra rounds allow you to miss 1 or 2 shots without having to reload. So when you're running pummel, you can miss a couple of rounds, but you have enough in the chamber to activate pummel almost as a guarantee. So that's why the KSG shotgun is actually better than the 870. Is that right, Bill? Is it the 870 has only 5 rounds? You're probably right. Yeah, I'm going off my head. I was saying 7 or 8, but you're probably right. It's probably 5. but anybody else remember? I still love the M870, so I'm not saying I don't love it. I love it. I love it. But the KSG shotgun is better. Now, when I first got if you don't use the KSG shotgun, you're gonna hate, or both of them really, you're gonna hate them if you don't use them correctly. They work sort of like, and the Virginian is the same way. There's a cadence to the kickback that the gun has, right? And so, how do I explain this? So, the gun has a kick, right? And so the barrel will bounce. And so the RPM on these weapons are actually faster than what you want to actually fire at. So the rate of, you actually want to go at a slower rate of fire than the weapon actually allows. So follow the cadence. So when the gun, you pull the trigger, the barrel is going to bounce up, right? Wait for that barrel to drop all the way down again before you hit the trigger again. If you don't, then the barrel will just keep rising on you and rising on. Next thing you know, you'll be staring at the sky. So that's the trick with these shotguns. And you want to be really close. So just don't spam the trigger. Take your time. Boom. 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 Be patient. You'll be standing in front of 4 enemies and you will stagger them with that one shot and then kill them with the second one. That's basically the idea there. And it's just a brief pause in between rounds. But so when I first tried the KSG shotgun the first time, which was a long time ago, I was like, oh, this gun sucks. It's horrible. And that's because, you know, I wasn't playing into how the gun wants you to play into it, you know, with its cadence. And you got to be close. You got to be really close, within 10 meters, really. So trying to, you know, snipe fools with that shotgun is just not going to work, you know. So where you can snipe fools with the, what's the other shotgun called? The variant that's like the MOP is built, the 612, right? That one you can actually hit fools at range with. Don't recommend you try to snipe, but you can. So, anyways, really good shotguns, guys. Actually, I got some more shotgun builds in the future. I'm working on them right now. I'm just waiting for these ideal pieces to land before I produce them. But their builds are actually ready. I'm really excited to share them with you. Just wait. I want them to be perfect because of how they play. So I'm looking for this the perfect chess piece before I release it. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks, within the next 2 weeks, I'll be back onto shotguns. If you guys haven't seen that build video I put out with the MOP, you should check out that one. It's called the No Shield Named Boss Killer. Really cool build where I show you how to play with the MOP without a shield and just shred through the enemies. Really good shotgun. Bco126IN asks, have you had a chance to work on an ongoing directive hybrid skill build? The answer is yes. Yes. Actually, I'm working on it right now. It's not complete. So I've kind of been just sort of farming for it in the background, waiting for the ideal pieces, and I think I'm almost there. I think I'm only just missing one more piece, and then I'll be able to kind of dedicate some time to it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You know, I think I have a feeling it's gonna play like it's gonna play out like the perfect blend, but not be as good, to be honest with you. That's my prediction. And the reason why is because it's going to give you 25%. I don't think I'm going to use the chest and the backpack for ongoing directive. I have a hunch I'm not going to like that because I want to stack up on the damage. So I'll probably try to get like glass cannon, for example, and then get 25% amplified damage from ongoing directive, and then try to go for glass cannon. And then the memento on my backpack or something like that. So I think that's probably where I'm gonna go. But the thing is, you can't get those the amplified damage, those special rounds, unless you apply a status effect. So how are we gonna do that, right? So we're either gonna have to play through a skill and then lose some skill damage that way. Maybe use like a stinger hive or something like that. Or I was thinking maybe I could run the jammer pulse. Oh, not the jammer pulse. The the detection pulse, whatever you call that, the scanner pulse, and then run the Night Watcher mask. Try that variation, and then run spotter on the chest. You know, that would take the memento backpack out of the equation, though. So yeah. So anyways, these are ideas that are kind of crossing my mind, but I haven't really fully thought it out. The other way is to run Ridgeway's Pride, and then use Ridgeway's Pride for our survival, and then you know, build everything else into skill damage from there. So, and then Ridgeway's Pride would activate the status effect, so that way we get the amplified damage. So yeah, good question. Good question. We'll see how it ends up. Hopefully it ends up better than the perfect blend, but I'm just not so sure. The thing that the perfect blend offers is that RPM to boost up that and the handling, which makes that capacitor feel really good. And that's one of the things. You know, hey guys, if you haven't used the perfect blend yet, maybe you shouldn't, because it feels so good. You might have a hard time using any other build because it turns up the capacitor, right? You get a big boost in that RPM, 15% increase in RPM. So that makes it feel really good, and the handling. So, you know, when you go on to, so I'm also working on a Negotiator's hybrid build, Negotiator's Dilemma hybrid build, and it feels a little underwhelming because of how wonderful the perfect blend feels. So, you know, be careful how good your builds are. I guess that's all I can say, because you might not be able to go back to anything else. Carlton Jones says he's got pummel on most of the shotguns. Yeah. And I know why. Ricardo G74 says, I run a 3-piece Badger Tough, Golan, Gila, and Memento for the shotgun. All red, 0F. Base tanks and slaps. That sounds like a good build, Ricardo. See, 3-piece Badger. So that's giving you 5% armor. What's the second one on that? But definitely it gives you, what, 10% armor and kill. 5% armor, 10% armor and kill. And then Golan, you're running... Why are you running Golan with your Badger? Why are you running Golan with your shotgun? Are you running 2 pieces of Golan for that 1% armor regen? Is that what you're doing? And Gila? Yeah. But either way, I can see the direction that build's going. And that looks like a really good build. Huh? I like your all red 0F, by the way. I have one of those. I'm still looking for another one too, because the one that I have isn't exactly perfect, but I got crit damage and weapon handling on it. But I want with crit chance, crit damage, and a red core. So that reminds me, I will be doing another live stream where, well, last week we discussed the 10 rare and hard to find gear pieces that are worth the grind. And I'll be linking that replay. The link is already there, actually. So the link to that live stream is in the description area below of this video. So you can click on that to watch last week's stream. But I will be doing another, like a part 2 of that as well. So we'll be doing another 10 rare and hard to find gear pieces. So a part 2 of that, and probably a couple of weeks, because there's a couple of pieces I'm looking for myself. For example, those variations of the 0F chest piece for skill and DPS builds. So, oh, I see, Ricardo. The Proc Scorpio. Gotcha. Using the Scorpio with that build. I gotcha. Yeah, so the status effects. Get into last numbers. So Elmas Latin is using 4 ongoing with all secondary attributes rolled to status effect. Then he's got the Ridgeway's Pride chest piece, natural, very good. Firm handshake with armor regen or crit hit chance. Vector with sadist. The vector with the sadist is nasty. That's a nasty combo. Gunner for armor on kill and other cool perks. Yes, Stinger Hive or Bone. Yeah, that thing shreds. I know that build actually. When Ridgeway's Pride first came out, I think that's one of the builds that I tried first to test out that chest piece. And it is a nasty little combo to put that Sadist with the Vector, though, by the way, guys. So Sadist is amplified damage. You guys didn't know? It doesn't say anything about that in the description, but somebody had tested it a while back, and they had determined, they called it that it was amplified damage because the way it was boosting the damage was more than its additive counterparts. So anyways, so yeah, Sadus is a really, really strong talent, and it's instant, right? If they're bleeding, you get it right away, and there's no stacking of it. That's also why it's really cool. Yeah, and the 4 ongoing directives will give you that 25% more amplified damage. So yeah, that's a real powerful build. Props to you. I'm sure you're loving that one. BCO126IN. Built and used the perfect blend today. Couldn't believe how fast the capacitor was killing. Yeah, I hear you, man. I can't put the build down. I'm stuck with it. I'm addicted to it. You know, but like I was saying, you know, just the last time I used a 4-piece striker build was with the Bighorn. And that's the only way I would run the Bighorn, guys. I see how the Bighorn builds out there, and I'm like, oh, yuck. I don't like it. Because I know how that Bighorn feels. It's just like, talk about a kick and rise. That thing, just, the handling is nasty. Now, it's really deceiving, the Bighorn, right? So you got that, it's basically all about headshots. Now, when you scope in, you get this amazing magnified headshot damage, right? But they're tricking you there. That's no good. Okay, when you scope in, try to use your headshot damage, you're just not a very, basically you're a weak sniper when you use that. You're a weak sniper, look at it that way. Like if you're gonna build into that, if you're gonna build into a scoped Bighorn build, then all you're creating is just a very weak sniper build. You might as well use the Mantis and, you know, do a lot more damage, right? And, you know, if you need to use your AR, you switch to your secondary weapon that's an AR. So it's just, you know, don't go into that. What you want to do with the Bighorn is you want to do offload a full clip on rapid fire into the head. That's what you want to do, right? So in order to do that, you're going to need the handling. And the other thing is the Bighorn's RPM isn't that exciting. So I ran a 4-piece striker with the Bighorn, and I believe the chest was Obliterate, probably a Cheska chest piece. I'm not exactly sure, but and then I was running the Memento backpack. So that's the Bighorn build I created. It's a one and only, and I've tried many other variations, and that to me felt the best for the Bighorn. And it's based off of, again, you know, looking into talents and really analyzing, what does this gun want to do? What does this gun want to do? What that gun wants to do is offload a full clip at rapid fire into somebody's head. And when you run 4-piece striker, you can do that from long ranges as well. So I invite you to try that build. Really easy to assemble. Basically, just a striker with crit chance on it. And then either a Cheska or a Fenris chest piece with Obliterate. And then throw on your Memento backpack. And that is an amazing Bighorn build. The only way I would run a Bighorn. The only way I do run a Bighorn. And maybe one day I'll create another build. But, you know, that one needs a lot of handling. So you're going to have to put on your build one way or the other. I think if you're going to run it close range, if you're going to try to run and gun with the Bighorn, you'll probably find that you're better off just using a different weapon. So, you know, if you kind of get yourself into that situation, you might as well just run a better weapon. So, that's my opinion. Don't force it. Don't force it on yourself, you know what I mean? Got the Bighorn, I'm a running gun player, I'm going to use it for running gun, and you'll be like, that's sort of forcing it. So, it's, you know, it's made to play at medium distances. And so, not that we can't break rules. I like breaking rules. But, you know, some guns are just stubborn. Carlton Jones says, I do miss having the talents on other pieces of gear. Yes, speaking of the Dodge City holster, remember when it would reload all your weapons when you swapped to your pistol? Oh, that was so cool. Why did they take that away from us? Yeah, so if you guys don't know, for you new players, your all your gear used to have talents as well. I miss Gear 1.0. That was 1.0. And yeah, your gloves would have talents, your knee pads, and all that. Used to have additional damage to elites as well. They took that away from us. They made so many changes. I mean, they gave us these core attributes and all that stuff. So they did simplify it because, you know, things would get really complex. I do admit, I remember creating builds and it was like, oh, is this math going to come out? There's just so many moving parts because you had so many attributes on so many gear pieces that there were so many moving parts. So it was a little more difficult to create builds, but variations of builds and truly know if one was stronger than the other. But yeah, they took away all these passive talents from us too. There were weapons that you could have as long as attached to your build. You could get the talent working for you even if it wasn't equipped in your hand. So yeah, Carlton, man, I'm with you, man. I missed those too. I wish they'd bring some of those back. Eclipse 187 says, I'm trying to make a 3-piece striker build for PvP. Yeah, man. Try it with the Eagle Bear. That Eagle Bear loves them headshots too. So if you can get that to work for you, which it should. But then, you know, try a 4-piece too. Try a 4-piece too. I mean, that little bit of amplified damage isn't going to hurt you. So Almost Latin is saying that because of the secondaries rolled on his ongoing directive, the secondary attributes are rolled to status effects, it's multiplicative, adding the fact that the gear set backpack talent amplifies bleeding to 100%. Yeah, I think you're saying the status effect damage on top of your weapon damage makes it a multiplicative damage when you bring those two things together. I think if I'm interpreting it out right, I would agree with you. I'm not a big fan of the backpack though. And the reason why is because the bleed is the weakest status effect of all the status effects. It just doesn't take that much damage. So I know it can come in handy when you got just this enemy on its last leg and you have to reload, and you know. That can be really helpful, but yeah, I don't know. You know, when you pick up a trophy and you get all of its perks, you know, from the memento, that might outweigh it or something. But you're not the only one that runs that backpack, so you know it's doing something out there that people love. Your RNG sucks, Eclipse. My RNG sucks this week too, man. I ran 10 control points yesterday or whatever, and I kept 0 gear, and then I did the same thing today and got the same results. It's just been a bad week for RNG. I feel like, you know, when we're like at the beginning of a season, RNG's like turned up, and then when we get to the backside of a season, it's just like, oh, it becomes much more difficult to find gear. I'm trying to, let's see what Destroyer Word says. I'm trying to find out where I went wrong with my striker build. I can't get 50% crit hit chance. What's your watch? What shade level are you at? Because I'm over 1,000, and a lot of my builds assume that you're over 1,000 when I throw my crit hit chance stats out there. But SDA on mask, right, striker on your mask, striker on the gloves and the holster. You put crit hit chance on the knees, right? Plus all the red wiring with crit chance mods. So you would have 3 crit hit chance mods, right? Which is going to bring you to 18%. And then the knee pads will give you another 6%. So now you're at 24%, right? Then you got 6% more on your chest. So that put you at 30%. And then the assault rifle is going to give you 10%, I believe. So that puts you at 40%. And then the rest is going to be from your watch. Yeah, so you got the watch. I mean, I just did the math, and it should work out. Yeah, the Coyote is a nice little addition if you don't want to run the Memento backpack. But then you're going to have to make a choice on if you're going to run the Striker backpack or chest. But you could do that. You could also run a 3-piece Striker and run the Coyote's mask. And then like a Cheska backpack with combined arms, and that would feel really powerful. And on the perfect blend, I did run combined arms on the backpack, and it shredded hard. By the way, it felt really good. It did. It's just that the Memento backpack just offers so much more when you pick up a trophy, because you get the regen, as well as the skill buffs, as well as the weapon buffs. So having the skill buffs and the weapon buffs both was more attractive for me, unfortunately. And so it's another build with the Memento backpack. Are you guys tired of seeing the Memento backpack? Anybody out there sick of seeing it on my builds? I do try not to use it, so you know. I always try not to use it, but I was like, I gotta give these guys the best version of the build. The best version has the Memento, I'm sorry. But it's such a good backpack. What did the devs do to us? What did they do to us? We can't stop using the Memento. Yeah, so okay, so let's try to help you figure out this crit hit chance thing. So you have 3 mods at 6%, right? That's 18% crit hit chance. You have 6% on your kneecap, your knee pad, so that's 24%. You have another 6% on your chest piece as a secondary attribute. That's 30%. And then I believe the assault rifle gives you 10% crit hit chance, 30% crit hit damage. So the 10% crit hit chance boosts you to 40% total crit hit chance. The rest is coming from your watch, which is going to be another 10%, putting you up to 50% crit hit chance. Did we get that right? So 30% crit hit chance on your build, 10% from the capacitor, 10% from your watch. Yeah, the 3 cores are great, but the trophies, if your build can take advantage of the Memento's short-term trophies, the short-term buffs are the most powerful thing in the game, right? You get that instant, if you're running 6 red cores, for example, you're getting instant 30% weapon damage through. That's huge, right? For only for 5 seconds. But that's why those builds like Slaughter, like the Slaughter hybrid build, is really powerful, because it's made to pull you out of cover. Same with the Balls Out Foundry build. It's made to pull you out of cover, and the reason why you need to get out of cover is just so you can grab that trophy and move to engagement. So you get out of cover, grab a trophy, kill the next enemy, grab that trophy, kill the next enemy, grab that trophy, kill the next enemy. So every time you're grabbing those trophies, and sometimes you're grabbing more than one, which is happening all the time, you're stacking that damage again. 30, 60% skill damage, 90% skill damage, because you picked up 3 trophies or whatever. And same thing with the weapon damage. Again, that weapon damage and bonus armor and all that other stuff, not to mention the long-term buffs. So, but if you can make a build that plays into your short-term buffs, like Hunter's Fury for Heroic, for example, using Hunter's Fury and Heroic allows you to play into those short-term buffs, right? And that's what keeps you out of cover, because you could accomplish that kill, that armor on kill, that trophy on kill. And so, because it gives you the boost to do that. So yeah, builds that allow you to play into that allow you, that's the reason why you want to get out of cover. It has nothing to do with being Mr. Aggressive or, you know, measuring the size of your penis or anything like that. It has to do with, if I can get out of cover and grab that trophy, I'm going to become a god when it comes to power and survivability. So that's what playing out of cover is really about. Being able to pick up those trophies. Sort of. It is exhilarating too. That's why I like it. I mean, it's exhilarating when you have these engagements and you're just dancing and ducking and you're diving and you're jabbing and you're giving them the right hook on the back of their head. I mean, it's a lot of fun to play like that, guys. A lot of fun. And I'm a sniper guy, just so you know, like, you know, I came from Battlefield before this, and I love the Overwatch build. You know, I would love to play and just like take fools out from like 4,000 yards away. You know, I'd get in these sniper battles, you know, with a couple of other, you know, dudes across the map, and we'd be just, I mean, they'd just be the tiniest little dot, just the tiniest little dot on a map, and I would just, you know, just being able to snipe them from that far is just, that's just a lot of fun to me. A lot of fun to me. So when I came into the division, you know, I toyed around with a lot of the sniper builds at first. And that was obviously a long time ago. That was before the Mantis and all that stuff came out. Had a lot of fun with that, and moved into the assault rifle builds from there. And then eventually got into run and gunning. So I didn't naturally start with the run and gunning. It's sort of something I evolved into. And then sort of started playing it into my skill builds as well. Kind of leaked over the run and gunning into those. And, you know, now I'm on this hybrid kick, and I really like the hybrids because I feel like the game kind of naturally caters to it. So people are like, I wonder if I have this comment. Yeah, I do have this comment. Check out this comment, guys. Check out this comment. Here's a good topic. So let me know if you can see this. So I brought this up in last night's stream with members, but this is this guy Heavy Metal commented on the perfect blend build. But check this out. It says, why does everyone only builds hybrid builds? They are rubbish, especially on PC. You can't use them. Normal skill builds are much stronger. Normal DPS builds are much stronger. And I don't even need to talk about a good tank build. What's wrong with this comment? What do you guys think? What's wrong with this comment? What's right about this comment? Do you agree with him? Do you not agree? But normal skill builds are much stronger. Huh. That's interesting. Are they? Is a normal skill build stronger than the perfect blend? Can anybody speak to that? I'd like to hear you guys' opinions on this. But let me explain. So, the perfect blend... Well, let's start with the normal skill build. What does a normal skill build have? Well, it's going to be all yellow, right? First of all, but what's more important about it? It's going to have 6 skill tiers, right? What does the perfect blend have? How many skill tiers does it have? Anybody answer that? 6, right? So, okay, a normal skill build has 6 skill tiers, and the perfect blend has 6 skill tiers. Okay, cool. So, secondary attributes. A normal skill build would have what for secondary attributes? Well, skill damage. Well, it's going to be one of those, right? Max skill damage across those, so 6 of those. Maybe 5 of those, depending on if you're running a memento on your normal skill build or not. Well, the perfect blend has max skill damage across it as well. Now, it has one dedicated to crit chance, but close enough. Close enough. You know? So, anyways, the point is that I don't think that's true at all. I think that the perfect blend is actually stronger than a normal skill build, whatever that is, by the way. I don't even know what a normal skill build is. But it's stronger because it brings you the same amount of damage a normal skill build would have, but it gives you a whole lot more weapon damage than a normal skill build would have, as well as survivability. Because time to kill is survivability, but this one also gives you armor and bonus armor and regen. Normal skill build would not do that for you. As a matter of fact, I think a normal skill build is the kind of build where you throw out your skills and you just kind of hide behind cover. But the question he asks is, why are people running these hybrid builds? They are rubbish. Why are we doing this? Why? Well, if we took his suggestion here, we'd only have 4 builds, wouldn't we? We'd have our normal skill build, we'd have our normal DPS build, and we'd have our normal tank build. Well, that's only 3 builds. And then maybe the 4th one would be a normal status effect build. We'll just add that to his comment. So we'd have 4 builds. Everybody in the game would have 4 builds, and everybody's builds would look exactly the same. Were they not? If we were all had to use these same, well, how close-minded is this? This is me speaking, speaking the truth, in my opinion. But how close-minded is that? It just doesn't seem like And I feel like my question back to him would be like, are you playing the game still? Because if you're running those 4 builds, you must be bored out of your fucking mind. Bored. I would have, if I was only using these 4 builds, I would have quit the game. You would not be seeing me making build videos for you anymore. You know? And there's other people that think like that, right? That's it's not the first time I've gotten that comment. I get that comment a lot, actually, probably once every video. There's that one guy. I expect him. I hope for him because I might get to bring it up in conversation. But you know, I know there's some content creators that actually don't create very many build videos, if you notice, because some of them have a hard time thinking of outside the box builds, right? Because they kind of are on that. It's got to be the prescribed DPS build, the prescribed tank build, the prescribed skill build mindset as well. But let's break this down for a quick second, right? So there was a time back in TU9 or something like that where we were all complaining about the rainbow loot that the game was giving us, and the devs took some serious time to change the RNG as well as the quality that we were getting, you know, taking out the purple gear for us heroic legendary players. And so they solved that. But what did they give us right after? Can anybody answer that? Does anybody recall? What gear exotics did they give us immediately after we were complaining about our rainbow gear? Well, I'll answer that for you. They gave us the memento. The memento is the ultimate hybrid piece. Do you think this fellow likes the memento or doesn't like the memento? He's probably not a fan of the memento because the memento is the ultimate hybrid. You guys see why the memento is a hybrid? It's a perfect rainbow. If it's a rainbow, it's a hybrid, right? It's got yellow, red, blue. That's what I mean by rainbow. It's the perfect hybrid. Good job. Anthony DeMar got it. Got the answer right. You got it, buddy. What else did they give us after the memento? Anybody recall? They gave us the capacitor. Is the capacitor a straight up yellow thing? No, this capacitor is a hybrid weapon, right? It's designed to complement the skill build, to give itself DPS off of the skill build. It's a hybrid gun, right? What about the waveform? Is the waveform for pure skill builds? Think about the waveform for a second, right? It gives this buff to skills. Why did the devs give that to us? They made a comment, so if you guys remember this, they said they were tired of seeing, good job, Stephen got the answer right too, the memento. So they were tired of seeing us throw our skills out. They literally said this, and throw our skills out and like not actually play with our weapons. They were tired of seeing that. So they said they wanted to introduce new gear that allowed us to use our weapons more, right? Hybridize our builds a little bit more, right? Power into our weapons just as much as our skills. And so they gave us weapons like the capacitor, right? And one of the things that sparked this was also the mantis. Is the mantis a straight up DPS weapon? No, it's a hybrid. Why is the mantis a hybrid? It synergizes with a skill. What is that skill? It's the decoy. When you land a headshot kill, it refreshes the decoy. That's a hybrid. Now, truthfully, the word hybrid is like, really loose. I get that. So, and I'm throwing it out there that way. But the point is that the devs, the question is, why do people run these hybrid builds, right? Actually, the devs have encouraged it. And they released this gear, like the waveform, to encourage us to run hybrid builds. Wait a second, the waveform is a hybrid piece? Of course it is, right? Think about it this way, okay? If you run the capacitor and the waveform together, you have so much skill damage, you don't actually need to put any more skill damage on your build. That's enough skill damage right there. The capacitor is giving you, what? 60% skill damage, and the waveform another 30% plus the 10% skill damage as an attribute that's on it, right? So 40%. So that's 100% skill damage between your gun and your holster, right? you can run everything else red on your build, and then maybe run combined arms for another 25%. So now you got 125%, right? And then you run the technician, so you pull in one skill tier. That's going to boost you by another 20%. Now you got 145% skill damage. And in your technician skill tree, you're going to elect for skill damage for another 10%. You got 150% skill damage. And everything else is red. That's why Waveform is a hybrid piece, is because it's designed to give you all the skill damage you could possibly need, granted with the capacitor, giving you the ability to add other things to your build, whether that be survivability or DPS, right? So the devs are encouraging hybrid builds, whether you believe that or not. It's up to you, but that's how I interpret it. And there were conversations around this where they specifically said they were tired of us throwing out our skills and not doing any work. So anyways, yeah, that kind of gets me a little bit riled up, you know. Nothing against that guy. I know people have different ways of playing this game, and my way isn't the right way. But what I'm trying to do is just to get people to open their minds, because when they do, they're going to experience a different version of the Division 2. And one that offers endless possibilities, and one that you will never get bored of. I'm not bored of this game. I'm having a ton of fun with this game. I have more fun if the loot would drop better this week, but so I can get these builds wrapped up and move on to the next build. But no, I'm having fun, guys. Man, I'm having a lot of fun, you know. And you know, when you try new builds, that means you're getting a new experience. And if you guys, you know, I encourage you again to also try my challenges, right? My weekly challenges, because those offer a different experience also. So the last one, Latina, if you can drop this link too, was to play the Division Union Arena backwards. And that's really interesting. You're going to need a team to do it. At least duo, play it at least with 2 people. But made it really easy to watch that video while you're playing the game, so you can actually scroll through it by using the bookmarks, timecode stamps, and use it as a guide. But you can play District Union Arena from different fight zones than you normally do, and it offers a totally new experience, a new set of challenges, makes you communicate more with your teammates, also think about your builds a little bit differently. So anyways, when you do things like that, you're going to have a hard time getting bored of this game. Now, if you just stick with your 3-4 standardized prescribed builds, then I'd imagine that you would get bored of this game. Bishal Subhadarshi Jenna says Negotiator skill hybrid build destroys legendary content. Agreed. Actually, I'm working on that same build, and if you guys saw my last stream, I was using that build. That might have been a members only stream. But yeah, I don't like it as much as I do Perfect Blend, to be honest with you, and that's just because I think the Perfect Blend sort of well, once you use it, I guess you'll realize, but it makes the gun feel so good with that added RPM and handling. It's nothing else really compares, but it is a different way to shred enemies. I agree with you, and it is really strong. A lot of solo players use an all-red DPS version of that, right? A lot of solo legendary players use Negotiator's Dilemma with the Sacrifice and the Police M4 and Strained. And then they used what they call the shield glitch, if you guys don't know what that is. We talked about it last night's stream, but it's not really a glitch. But when you use the shield with an 8x scope and an assault rifle, but mostly the 8x scope, it gives you a greater field of view to your right, on your right side. So when you use a right-handed cover point, you know, where you can peek out from the right side, you get a wider field of view, so you can stick your barrel out and shred enemies, but they can't actually get a shot on you. So it's not a shield build in the sense where you're actually using the shield to protect yourself. You're not, because, you know, it's basically like holding up a piece of notebook paper in front of you, because you're running perfect glass cannon with all reds. But it gives you the ability to not get shot, but shoot from behind cover. It's really amazing. It's really amazing. Anyways, but they use Negotiator's Dilemma to solo legendary, and yeah, it really works because it gives you the DPS power that you need. and also more crit hit damage. You know, Negotiator's Dilemma is a way to get 300% crit damage, guys, without using the backfire. Think about that. Now, I did create a Negotiator's Dilemma backfire build. It's been a while since I put out that video, but check that one out. It's called the Negotiator, and you have max hazard protection or bleed resistance, and I'm running the backfire with Negotiator's Dilemma. So as you can imagine, it's got a lot of crit hit damage on it. As you can imagine, does it really well. So Negotiator's Dilemma, when you run it with, you know, like an assault rifle, like your Police M4 or whatever, you can get up to 300% crit hit damage. That's a lot. So if you ever wondered why Negotiator's Dilemma is so attractive and people love it, that's why. Actually, Negotiator's Dilemma and True Patriot came out at about the same time, and I went for Negotiator's Dilemma, and I loved it so much I couldn't use True Patriot. The first time I really used True Patriot was for the Contender build, believe it or not. All this time I've been playing the game, and I avoided True Patriot. I didn't like it. I felt like it was kind of gimmicky, and the explosions were kind of corny, cheesy, you know, all that stuff. But as a skill build, I was like, ooh, this just makes so much sense as a skill build. Loved it. So check out the Contender if you haven't. It's actually top 3, 4, maybe number 2 when it comes to hybrid builds. So people are enjoying that one right now as well. Steven Johnson, was that comment off of a forum? No, that comment was off of the Steven. That comment was off of the Perfect Blend video I just published 2 days ago. So yeah, he commented like, "Why are people putting out these hybrid builds?" Yeah, no, I get at least one of those comments on every hybrid build video. I get that. Like a DPS build hits harder. That's a comment I get. It's just so funny, right? It's just like, yeah, okay, sure, right? But builds aren't always about, you know, the hardest hitting. Like, what are you gonna do with a hardest hitting blah build? You know, it's just like, sometimes it's about survivability. Sometimes it's about teamwork, buffing the team. Sometimes it's about sometimes it's about just having fun, right? Some of these builds are literally just about having fun. You know, sometimes these builds are about playing solo. Sometimes they're about playing in group. Sometimes they're about being good for group and solo. There's so many different reasons to create builds, and you know, besides it just being the strongest all red build. So, anyways, we get these comments a lot. We get a lot of funny comments like that. And it's not that he's wrong. It's just that he's not right either, right? There's just more than one way. Clips187 says, hybrids are my favorite build, especially for PvP. It throws off the enemy team and their tactics. Yep. You know, I can't speak from personal experience because I haven't been doing a heck of a lot of PvP lately. I sort of dabble in it from time to time. I went through a phase where I played it a lot. I don't make builds for it because I don't have the room in my stash. In my opinion, they require a different set of tweaks. And there's less build diversity in there, so it does need the Tux touch. I realize that. PvP needs the Tux touch. But I need to find a way to get my stash to cooperate before I head that way. The majority of the player base does do PvE, so I do dedicate myself to those builds. Brandon Lickadoo says, I'm about to do a Negotiator Dilemma Pesty build. Yeah, that works. That works. Eclipse 187 says, Patriot and Ridge Race is nuts. Totally. You know what else works with the Patriot? True Patriot is the Eagle Bearer or the Cold Relations. So think of those guns. So the Eagle Bearer is attractive because it has a larger mag, right? When you put it with True Patriot, it gets something like 79 rounds with one in the chamber. That's an LMG. That's insane. So try the Eagle Bearer with that. But also, Cold Relations runs Perfect Strain, which gives you up to 80% crit hit chance, right? The problem with the Cold Relations is that you don't get much. You'll maybe only get one bullet at 80% crit hit damage. So when you run it with True Patriot, you're gonna get a larger mag on that, which means you're gonna get more 80% crit hit damage off of correlations. Try it with that. Destroyer of words. You can't run the contender build without yelling Stella. Anthony DeMar says, I've been farming for True Patriot with skill damage since the contender video came out. I've gotten 1 piece since. I've managed to put together the wingman fairly quickly. So, oh, that's really cool, man. Yeah. How are you liking that wingman? I love the wingman. Yeah, I really like it. Anthony DeMar continues with, make PvP tuxational again. I know, man. I gotta get there. Actually, what's just interesting is we just got news that Heartland is going to be delayed till fiscal year 2022, right? So I was actually holding off to do my PvP for Heartland, but I'm rethinking that now that they delayed that. So I might have to move my way into PvP. I do funny builds though, you know, sometimes it's not all, I mean, I like doing the off-meta stuff. I like the other day I was in there, and I mentioned this on the last stream, but running 4 pieces of system corruption red, and I ran it with the sacrifice, perfect glass cannon, and the nemesis. And so the idea was to be a sniper in the shadows, undetectable. So it was actually really fun. I'm not that good with the nemesis, I admit. I need more practice with it, but the idea was I would throw out the decoy that hides your name tag, makes you invisible, right? And then otherwise, I would hit the heal button, you know, the instant heals off of system corruption, which also makes you invisible because it hides your nameplate as well. So, and then the what you would literally one tap fools with the nemesis, and you don't even need, it doesn't even need to be a headshot. You can hit them in the chest up when you're fully loaded, and it'll take them down because, you know, people don't be wearing that much armor, right? So that was a lot of fun. The idea was definitely to be invisible. It would have been more fun if I'm better with the nemesis than I am. So, you know, I wasn't landing all my shots, but I just have a hard time, you know, holding on that button, charging and aiming at the same time. I say it's like chewing bubblegum and walking. Some people are good at it, some people are not. Anthony DeMar is mentioning the Bishal that both of his death grips have gotten been from the named items caches. Me too. Actually got, I get some really unique things from the named item caches. Like some of my, pretty much all my Dark Zone gear is from the named item caches. I mean, I used to play a lot of Dark Zone too. I mean, I spent many hours in the Dark Zone. And I got lots of caches from there too. And I would get that Dark Zone exclusive gear, but it would sort of always be crap when it dropped in the Dark Zone. And so I would get my God Rolled version. So I've gotten my God Rolled Virginian. The Virginian is Dark Zone exclusive. My God Rolled one, triple God Rolled, came from a cache, named item cache. My really unique death grips that had God Rolled skill damage on it, and I rolled a skill tier on it, came from a named item cache. Same with my other 5 Hollow Man masks and death grips. But also got a Hollow Man mask with max skill damage on it, and I rolled a skill tier. That also came from a named item cache. So named item cache has got me probably the best gear in the game. Named items are better than exotics in many, many cases. I don't know. What do you guys think about that statement? Hey, you new players out there, you guys got your EMP sticky? Eclipse 187 mentions the EMP sticky in the oxidizer camp. And I'm wondering if some of you guys haven't been able to get those skills because you entered the game late. Hey, Eclipse is mentioning 3 pieces of Y'all gear and 3 pieces of Corrupt, and you're 100% immune to pulse. Hey, have you tried that in the Summit? You know how you have those EMP pulses in the Summit, that the bzz, zap, the bug zapper ones? Have you tried that pulse immunity in the Summit? I've tried it. I feel like I tried it, and it wasn't working for me. Because I want that build for that reason. You get the pulse in the summit all the time, right? It's like every other floor they're throwing a pulse at you, and it's really annoying. It'd be cool to be immune to that pulse, you know. So I'm wondering if you figured that out. I didn't test it for that long. I remember just slapping something together, and I was like, I should be able to stand in here and not be disrupted, and that wasn't the case. So I don't know why. So Anthony DeMar says he's gone to Virginia and Hollow Man calls out apartment, all from laying down in caches. He sucks at PvP, so I don't really go in the dark so much. Yeah, you know, you got to get used to it in there, man. You know, it helps a lot if you have a running mate to go in there with, right? You got a crew. You really want a 4-man squad too, because it sucks when you go in there and there's just 2 of you, and then you come across a 4-man squad and they just kind of like, yeah, you're gonna win. You know, but the other thing too is there is no real winning. I mean, you kill them, they kill you. You kill them, they kill you. You kill them, they kill you. That's the game. That's why it's sort of lame. You know, I like the Battlefield style better, where it's more epic, I guess. You know, bigger battles. I don't know. I just like those PvP setups better. But Destroyer of Words says you can disable those EMP zappers with Seekers? Why? I didn't know that. You mean, well, there's 2 types of EMP zappers. The little ones, right, that are just, you know, that are just EMP. And then there's the bigger ones that also, you know, if you get caught in their range, they actually take your health off too, right? They knock you over and then they take your life. You could take, which are you saying you could take out both of those or one or the other? Inquiring minds want to know. I think you're talking about the small ones though. When you throw out your Seekers, it detects it as an enemy. Bill says Hasbro does work. You're saying Hasbro works against those disruptors things? Yeah, maybe I need to go in there and try it out again. I've been meaning to do a max disrupt build for the Hunters on the 100th floor, so you can go in the room. The Chronicles of Killzone. Haven't seen you comment yet. Welcome, brother, if you're just joining us. Damage build works better in PvE, personally. I melt enemies. Are you saying like a DPS build versus a skill build? Is that what you mean, Chronicles? Dark Devil, welcome to Tux's Players Club. Woo! He's joined as a true Bandido. Awesome. So you get access, Dark Devil, to classified builds. Those are secret builds made just for Tux's Players Club. True and hardcore Bandido members. So there is a members only playlist on my YouTube channel, so you can catch those classified builds there. Otherwise, I do release them on a weekly basis, and we will have our next classified build out this coming week, most likely on Wednesday. So welcome to the club. Also, we do have Tux's Players Club private channels on our Discord as well. So when you go to my Discord, if you're not in my Discord, I invite you to head over there. Head over to the lobby of Tux's Players Club, knock, and Latina will answer. Latina is here in the stream as we speak, and she will verify your YouTube username and that you're a member, and will give you access to the members only server. So invite you to check that out. Members do get to snag my attention in those private servers, so look forward to chatting with you there as well. Welcome, brother. I also appreciate your support, all of you guys. Thank you for your support. This channel would not be here without you. And we got much more to do together. So much more to do together. First, let's get these 6 or 7 builds I'm working on right now out the door. So tomorrow is Halloween, so hopefully I can get a little farming in the morning before I go trick-or-treating. I am going to be wearing my Tuxedo Bandido mask and scaring the neighbors with it. So hopefully nobody shoots me. It's going to be the Division 2 for real up there. How's it going in your city, by the way? You guys surviving the COVID days? Things normalizing? Daredevil says, thanks, bro. Love the content. Cool, man. That's why I created. So you guys can love it. Also, thanks for kicking it with me, guys, on Saturday night. If you're on the West Coast, give me a hashtag West Coast in the chat. Appreciate that. Want to say who's on my side of the planet. I'm on the West Coast. I'm in the Pacific Northwest. I'm in rainy Portland. Who's on the West Coast with me? Where my East Coast boys at? I know Brandon, you're out there in Virginia. Anybody else on the East Coast? Do we have any London boys here tonight? You know, half of my subscribers are from the United Kingdom. I'm sorry to hear that, Dark Devil. That sucks, man. My condolences to you and your family, brother. That sucks. Anthony DeMar, do you guys eat your kids' candy when they go to sleep? Does that happen? Do you do that? And then if you do, if you eat your kids' candy when they go to sleep, do you convince yourself you're doing them a favor? Like, you know, saving them from a cavity? How does that go down? Anthony DeMar, East Coast. Michael Myers hollering from Maine. That's right, from Maine. You're not from Portland, Maine, are you, Michael? From a different city? Steven Johnson's from Idaho. Okay, lives just around the corner. Cool, man. We share a border. Dutchy RO, of course you're from the Netherlands. I should have guessed Dutchy. Are rising again this past week. Your numbers are rising again in the past week. It doesn't surprise me. We're in flu season, right? You're afraid new rules are coming? I don't know. Yeah, like lockdowns and whatnot. Oh, you're near, Michael, you're near Nova Scotia. Cool. Eclipse 187 doesn't have any kids, but he said he'd probably eat their candy. Jerk. It's funny. That's funny. It only works to the point where your kids start remembering how much candy that they have, right? So that's probably about 7 or 8 years old, 8 years old. They start weighing it. They can tell that it's a little lighter. The bag's a little lighter than it was the day before. Mateus Henrique Teixeira Pinto is from Brazil with a name like that. Woo! Love it. Welcome, my Brasileiro brother. Are you from São Paulo or where are you from? I lived in Argentina for 3 years. Met lots of Brazilian brothers from there. For the rest of you, Brazilians would use Argentina as one of their destination vacation spots. They share a border as well. Beautiful, beautiful people, beautiful land. I don't know Brazil. I didn't get to make it there, even though I was so close to it. Next time, I said to myself. And then COVID came. Destroyer Words is from California, Silicon Valley. All right, man. Yeah, you're just 8 hours to my south then. Chronicles of Killzone is from Florida. Oh, I'm so jelly. So jelly, because your weather is probably so much better than mine right now. Fortaleza, that's where Pinto's from. That's where Mateus is from. Fortaleza. Is that in the north or the south? Where's that at? There's a lot of Brazilian Division 2 players. What do you guys think about that? How cool, huh? A lot of Netherlands players too. Hey Dutchy, there's a lot of people up there that play the Division 2, huh? Do you think that's because the developers are all from the north up there? Thanks for another good stream, and happy Halloween. I hope it's a good one. Don't eat your kids' candy. Tux out.